Spotlight on Service is sponsored by Otco Home Appliances. Luxury lives here.
We are celebrating our nation's 250th birthday, honoring everyday Americans. We call it Red, White, and You. It's the perfect way to honor veterans in the St. Louis area who've served our country. Steve Savard joining us now with tonight's Spotlight on Service.
A lot of emotion in tonight's story about our local Vietnam veteran. Leaving combat behind for civilian life has been difficult for veterans of all generations, but it has proven especially problematic for veterans who served in Vietnam. Webster Groves native Tom Becker suffered through years of PTSD after serving with the famed 82nd Airborne Division. But his decision to write a straight-shooting, hard-hitting book titled Sergeant Becker, A Vietnam Story, has Tom talking more about his service than he ever thought possible. It provided peace and continues to, more than 50 years after leaving Vietnam, to return home to his then fiancée, Jane. It was extremely difficult for me to write this book. It brought up a lot of bad memories. It took at least 2 cases of bourbon and scotch to write, in parentheses, okay, maybe 4. It also took some boxes of Kleenex. Writing it all down, however, was a good exercise for my healing process. Did you ever imagine there'd be a time where you could have a laugh about your time in service?
God, no. I looked back and I thought, this is a good story. People should hear this.
Tom landed in Vietnam in 1968 as a member of the 82nd Airborne, jumping 5 to 6 feet out of helicopters while packing 100 to 120 pounds of gear took a physical toll then and now.
I've had to have both knees replaced. I have flat feet. I've had to have my shoulder replaced. I've got scar tissue all over my brain from the concussions and all over my lungs from smoke inhalations.
As a sergeant in charge of keeping other soldiers alive, Tom never hesitated to challenge authority when orders didn't make sense.
I heard there were some really good officers in Vietnam. I just didn't see many of them.
Tom challenged superiors often enough to lose rank twice, but even as a private, he led by example and kept soldiers alive.
When the bad guys are running around with 10 to 15, you don't want to be 3, 4, 5 guys. And that's probably the biggest rule that I broke. And we would go out with 2 or 3 ambulance patrols and we'd gang up together. So we'd have 10, 15 guys and always have a machine gun. Machine guns were power. The most important weapon that we had was a machine gun.
More than halfway through his 11-month tour, the atrocities of war had pushed Tom to the brink. On a 10-day break from combat, he met a 5-year-old girl living in an orphanage. The kindness they showed each other helped Tom regain his sanity.
The love that I got from her really touched me.
Tom even tried to adopt the little girl he called Michelle, but was unsuccessful. But those encounters helped Tom recharge and might have helped him survive a 66-day bloody battle in Cambodia in the final days of his tour.
That's important to me. That was my boarding, that was my ticket home from Vietnam. I couldn't lose that.
Tom, on your flight out of Vietnam, on page 150 of your book, you write in all caps, and there's a lot of all caps writing in this book, okay? A lot of emotion is in this book.
Yeah, there is.
You write, I made it. I am still alive. I won. I get to go home to see Janie. And you call it by far the happiest day of your life.
By far.
Are those emotions still tangible to you 56 years later?
Sure. I didn't think I'd make it to that day. I really didn't. The chances were against it. Tom and Jane were married 2 months after he returned home. They'll celebrate their 57th anniversary in August. Tom gave Jane the final words in his book. The chapter is titled Jane's Memories. They raised 2 sons and have 4 grandchildren. Tom opened Climate Masters, a heating and cooling company, back in 1978 and still works part-time. He says in his final chapter of this book, life is good. Sergeant Becker, A Vietnam Story is available on Amazon. I very much enjoyed reading it, and I very much enjoyed meeting Tom and Jane.
Oh yeah, you could just see the smile on his face, even through the tears. He was fighting tears as well.
And he said before writing the book he didn't think he could smile this much and have a laugh about his service in Vietnam.
Our thanks to him and to you for spotlighting that.
All the thanks go to Tom and his service.
Steve.